Welcome to the Hawks Talk podcast. All things Blackburn Hawks.
In behind the defence, cuts around, scores! Blackburn Hawks win this game 8 goals to 5.
All the latest news, player interviews and much more.
Shoots, scores!
Hawks Talk.
Welcome back to the second episode of the Hawks Talk podcast with myself, Graham Hamilton, and Johnny Comber. Hi Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Graham. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How good is it to have the Hawks hockey back?
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing to watch the Hawks back on television as well. That's a weird thing to say, isn't it? I never thought I'd say it, but I've missed Brian and Oz's voice. Lockdown does some crazy things to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely got to give a shout out to those guys as well, Brian, Stuart, and Oz for the Hawks TV setup. It was a great product, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, most definitely a big shout out to those guys, along with everyone involved with the whole running of the club at the minute to get that, get the club up to the level it needed to be to participate in it, and then to actually go ahead and do it as well. Quite an achievement, I think.
Yeah, massive effort behind the scenes on that one. What's been your thoughts on the Hawks' performance in the North Cup?
I think it was kind of as expected. Earlier, there was a little bit of rust, wasn't there, in game one, which we ultimately lost. But I think that was then a bit of a kick up the backside for them that this is going to be a competitive cup.
Yeah.
And once players started gelling and getting to know each other, because obviously we had a range of players who put the Blackburn shirt on for this cup, you could see on the ice that they started to gel and ultimately just fell short at the final hurdle, didn't they?
Yeah. I think a lot of people took that first result I don't think that score line reflected the game.
Yeah, definitely take that with a pinch of salt, because then you saw afterwards in games 2, 3 and so forth that actually this is a very good bunch of players on the ice, and once they started gelling together, we saw some great hockey.
Like you said, there was a lot of rust because they hadn't played for so long together. There was new players coming in, and just that period of time, I'm sure, not playing competitive hockey, I can imagine it really took it out of them as well, because the legs seemed to go a little bit late in the third, I thought.
Yeah, some of them won't. If the season's ended this time last year when COVID kind of first came about in the country, it's been 12 months since some of them stepped on the ice. So, that was understandable that, tired legs would be a factor in the beginning. But I think over the tournament, it got a lot better and we saw that. And like I say, it was a shame to fall at the last hurdle, but I can't fault anything. I doubt you can either.
No, I'm happy with how it went, to be honest. Obviously, it would have been nice to win. Bit gutting to come second on goal difference, but it is what it is. That's hockey, I suppose. The Hawks improved throughout the competition, and it had everything, didn't it? We had goals, overtimes, a penalty shootout, big hits and fights as well. But ultimately and overall, it's just good to have the hockey back. Yeah,
most definitely. That was the main thing, wasn't it, to have hockey back. There was obviously a level of competitiveness in this cup, but ultimately getting the players back on the ice, which they wanted to do, obviously, and getting the fans like ourselves a viewing of the hockey was just all boxes ticked, really.
Yeah, definitely. Was there any players that stood out for you?
Ultimately, you want to say the Storm players, seeing the elite level that they brought to this competition. I think they stood out massively. But from a Hawks point of view, from a Hawks fans point of view, I think seeing Sam Dunford back on the ice, like you said, I know you spoke about him in episode 1.
Yeah,
but it was great to see him back in a Hawks shirt, and he was just like the old Sam Dunford we've both seen play. Never gives up on the play, fast skater, always going in the forecheck, and even gotten some goals as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, definitely. Finley and Jacob were really impressive. Their link-up players were fantastic. I thought Polly, he seemed to play a bit of a different role. He was more of a playmaker, not the scorer that we know him as.
Yeah, and give Reese a shout out as well. Wearing his heart on his sleeve kind of thing. The Reese that we all know, not afraid to do the graft when needed. And yeah, that was always entertaining to watch as well. Through the television, seeing Reese, have a bit of a scrap here and there.
Definitely. According to the NIHL website, he racked up 75 penalty minutes throughout that tournament.
Not bad.
Just a couple of things to mention as well. If the kids or the big kids out there need a hockey fix, you can check out the Zero Chill series on Netflix. That was filmed at Ice Sheffield as well. We've just been talking about that before we press record. And also the Mighty Ducks series on Disney Plus with new episodes every Friday. I watched the first one last week. You've not watched them yet, have you, Johnny?
I haven't watched I am a little bit dubious to watch it because it is the Mighty Ducks. It is what a lot of people watched when they were younger and could have been what got them into hockey, but I will definitely give it a try in the coming weeks when the episodes come out.
And there's some games as well with the Elite Series starting up this Saturday with Manchester Storm, Nottingham Panthers, Coventry Blaze and the Sheffield Steelers involved in that one. There is a fee to watch it. It is £13 per game, but you can block buy per team for all 12 games for that particular side for £99. I think I'm going to check out some Storm games to see how Finley, Jacob and Declan get going on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I've kept a little bit of an eye over Storm over the years, being the nearest elite team. But obviously now after this past tournament with Ryan coming to help us and Jacob and other players that have been in the Hawks shirt with this competition, yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. It should be a good series, just like ours was.
Speaking of Ryan, we're going to be chatting to him, Lee Pollitt and Graham Lomax in just a second. Thank you to everyone that sent in questions for this one. That interview is coming up next.
Hawks Talk.
Joining us now on Hawks Talk, we have several guests on this episode. First of all, GM and head coach of the Manchester Storm and also head of coaching at the Blackburn Hawks, Ryan Finnerty. Ryan, welcome to Hawks Talk. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Secondly, we have Hawks player coach Lee Pollitt. Lee, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
And last but by no means least, co-owner of the Blackburn Hawks, Mr. Graham Lomax. How are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Now I've been a bit tired. I'm not going to lie. Over the last few days, that little series has took its toll on me a little bit. But I'm all right now. I'm back to normal now.
Good stuff. So we'll start off by talking to you, Ryan. Take us back to the beginning. Tell us how you became involved with the Blackburn Hawks, and was it a simple yes from yourself?
It seems like a long time ago now, but obviously I've known Carl for a little while now, and been speaking to him on and off about when they acquired Blackburn, and just kind of been in a sounding board for them as far as the ownership and given some advice and some stuff that we've gone through in Manchester in our time of owning this club, and then one thing led to another. Obviously, with the season getting canceled and them kind of looking to get something going, it just kind of progressed into a conversation where I got progressively more involved, and then kind of took on a bit of a mentoring, leadership, coaching role with Lee and Ollie and the guys in Blackburn.
When you've been with the Hawks, Ryan, what has most impressed you with the organisation from kind of the business kind of running of it all, and also kind of from a player point of view? Because obviously you brought some Storm players, how have they got on, and also the group of lads that we have here at Blackburn?
I think from a business standpoint, it was just how well organized everything was. Every volunteer had a role and a purpose, and that just the buy-in that they have from all of them at the club. I mean, the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes to do an event like this in COVID times is incredibly difficult and challenging, and you gotta rely on a lot of good people to make sure it all works. And if one doesn't do their job, it kind of collapses the whole group. So it was just how well organized everything was. It was so professional, first class from the top down, and then from the buy-in from the guys. I mean, I think it was kind of a growing process with the guys. I think there was at first, I think it might have been not no hesitancy, but I think there was just a lot of different moving parts for the players when I first came in, and kind of like the vision of what we kind of wanted to achieve and accomplish in the first couple of weeks. And then I think as time went on, guys kind of adapted and kind of understood a little bit more what we were trying to do and how we were trying to kind of get them to play. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was, every week got kind of better and better, and guys got more and more involved and more questions. And, I was getting a lot of questions, even just on random Monday nights. I was getting players reaching out and asking questions. So it was good. It was fun to work with the players. They're a great bunch of guys, and they really, really care about winning, and they care about the Hawks. And it's just a fun environment to be around.
Is there anything you found challenging and pleasantly surprising over your time working with the Hawks?
I think hockey is always challenging. I think sport is challenging. Coaching is challenging, no matter what level, whether you're at the bottom level or the top level. There's unique challenges, but I think finding the skill level and like the of some guys, I was surprised. I thought there's some really, really good young players playing in that league, playing for the Hawks. And then I just really kind of loved the buy-in that the players had and the want and the will. I mean, arguably, I would say I've saw some more passion there than I've seen in some players that I've had in my professional coaching career. And they guys just want to win and get better. And I think it's kind of infectious when you get to work around guys that are just looking to get better every day. And I think we had a really good group and a really good group of guys there that genuinely day by day had a lot of interest in what we were trying to do, and they did want to get better. And it's just it's infectious. It's fun to work with guys like that.
And over the past few months, we've seen obviously a management change here at Hawks with Graham and Carl coming on board. taking over the running of the club. Do you feel that players and coaches kind of should want to be a part of this club now then moving forward?
I think what they're setting up there and what they want to do, and obviously I'd like to think with our involvement with them, obviously, you know, I'll go back to doing my Manchester thing, but I'll always kind of be on the doorstep of Blackburn and making sure that they're following kind of hopefully what we kind of set. Obviously, everybody that you know, Pollitt will have his own little thing he wants to do there, but at the same time, I think we set some foundations and some footprints for them to follow, and I think that's important for us, is that, you know, the team that we affiliate with is familiar with what we're doing. So if we do get guys coming through the pipeline, it's not a different world to them. But I think the professionalism from the top down, I was generally surprised. I was really, really surprised just how well it was run, how organized, how well the players got treated, you know, and you get owners that care. You know, that again, you don't always get that at the next level. It turns into straight business. Sometimes you forget about the people, and you definitely haven't done that in Blackburn. There's definitely a lot of caring for the players, and I think that's going to showcase it, you know, as they move forward into next season.
Now, we've just finished the return to play NIHL North Cup. We mentioned it earlier on. We finished second, but only lost on goal difference. Overall, how do you think the Hawks played throughout the competition?
I think we got obviously better as it went on, which was the goal. You know, we kind of got spanked the first game, and then we're able to kind of pick ourselves up and you know, get better. And again, it's credit the players. I mean, the players didn't give up; they wanted to get better, and every game we got, you know, we took steps forward, and unfortunately, just at the end there, we kind of ran into a pretty good goalie and couldn't really create any offense, but yeah, it was fun to be around, you know, to take a group of guys and you know, kind of drop me in the middle of it. They didn't know me from anywhere. They had no idea what my systems were, and try to learn that over 5 weeks and get a group to buy in the way I think we did was a lot of fun.
How easy was it for you, Lee, to sort of buy in on Brian's systems?
Oh yeah, easy. I mean, obviously it takes some getting used to, but that's something that I've wanted to bring to Blackburn for a few years now. I think obviously we had those years when I first come to Blackburn where we were dominant, but I think that was based purely on the players we had on the team were so much better and worked so much harder. Whereas I think the league changed as well now. It's that injection of the EPL teams for a few years there made a big difference to how the game's played in this league, and it is more systematical now, and that's something that we've been lacking in Blackburn. And yeah, it was very welcome to have that style of play come in, and I think it took a bit of adjustment from the lads. Definitely a difference for what they're used to, but yeah, it was. It's good that we've set off in that direction now, and yeah, we can build on from what we've had in this mini series.
Just going back to the first game that you mentioned there, Ryan, you mentioned obviously it was a defeat for Hawks. I think it was a bit of an ass kicking, is what you said then. It was obviously a little bit noticeable that defensively we're a little bit, you know, slacking there, and that's what cost us the game. Is that something you quickly picked on and then wanted to address with the players that came in after that? You know, Declan Barmer, Bobby Streetley, we all know came in, and then lastly was Paul Swindlehurst.
I think guys became available. I don't think it was ever like a plan to bring them in. You know, I think that when they became available, it was a question of, you know, did we want to slot them in? You know, we had a lot of guys, and that's always tough, right? Because you want to get everybody ice time, especially in an event like this, and we had a lot of bodies there, and you know, but at the same time, I think it's sometimes good also to see the guys that have been at the next level come and just see how they practice and how they move and play. And, you know, I think guys can pick up a lot of stuff from that. And I think they were accepted into the room, obviously. And yeah, we definitely added and bolstered our defense core after that first loss.
Was there any players that stood out for you from the Hawks?
There's quite a few. I mean, you know, depending just what you look at. I mean, and Jared Dickinson obviously was a great player for us. He's got a ton of talent, skates so well. He's one of the most fluid skaters I've ever seen. You know, he's got a heck of a stride, and you know, he looks effortless out there when he's moving. and then obviously Polly. First time I've been on the ice with Polly, and he does a lot of good stuff. So it just, just Sam Dunford, another local kid, just like a hardworking kid that kind of does everything you ask for him, and whether he's at center or the wing, he just, I just, to be honest, I just really, really liked working with the guys. They're a really good group of guys. There wasn't any attitude or any real, I didn't feel like there's any resentment for me coming in, which is, you're conscious of as a coach, is if you're stepping into their world and trying to implement your stuff. You got to kind of earn your stripes before they listen to you. But they were fantastic, man. They bought in right away. Systematically, we got better and better as it went on. So that the guys were thinking when they were playing. They weren't just kind of going out there doing their own thing. And it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I look back. I had a lot of fun. I clocked a lot of driving miles, but I had a lot of fun in the meantime. Yeah.
And Lee, just going back to yourself then, with this cup that's just happened, how basically was it for you? And I imagine it was great just to get back on the ice and play some competitive hockey.
Oh yeah, it was great. Obviously I've been excited to get back on the ice since Callum Graham took over, and there was obviously a few different points there when we might have been coming back, and obviously to finally get back on and see the lads, because we've not even seen the lads for so long through the lockdown, and we're all living miles away from each other and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been great to get back on the ice and obviously set things rolling for how we want the direction we want the club to go in. So yeah, it's been really good, and obviously we didn't get the result we wanted in the end, but like Graham said, it's not all been about winning, but we've set the train on the tracks and we're going in the right direction. So yeah, it's been great.
Was it surprisingly how physical the games were, considering you were out for such a long period of time?
Yeah, it was a bit. I think there's two sides of it. Is obviously the not being on. You don't know what to expect really. But yeah, the games were physical. I think a lot of lads, a lot of frustration for being in lockdown for a long time came out of some people. But that's the kind of hockey we like to play in Blackburn, and I felt it I think it was the first Nottingham game. I felt a lot better about how I was playing. I think it comes from that the higher intensity of the game kind of gets me into it, and that's what I felt in that Nottingham game.
And from kind of a player-coach kind of role, how have you taken to all that? Because I know a couple of years ago you spent a year in Canada, was it? I imagine you learned a heck of a lot when you're out there. Is it good to kind of put all that into practice?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously with Ryan coming in, it's took a bit of weight off my shoulders. Obviously, I've needed to concentrate a little bit on getting back playing after a year off the ice, and but yeah, I think it's been good for me there with kind of being a bit of a translator from obviously how Ryan speaks and what people are used to kind of to be a good middleman there between Ryan and the players and kind of not translate. Translate's probably the wrong word, but yeah, bridge the gap a little bit between how they're used to being coached compared to the direction we want to go in.
You mentioned there some of the coaching side of it, but what's it been like as a player working with Ryan? I mean, obviously he's got a wealth of experience in the UK, Canada, and a couple of other countries as well. So I can imagine he's been like a fountain of knowledge, so to speak.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, look at the. I mean, obviously we didn't get every win, but the way we're playing is we've come on leaps and bounds. Obviously, I think there's a bit of an adjustment period there from the lads and for even myself, but yeah, just the way we managed to take to the systems was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to take, and obviously Ryan's got the ability to get that across to players. So yeah, it's been really good.
And imagine obviously when we learn off him as well, the stuff that he does. I know it's a bit kind of cliche and cheesy, but you can learn from his own style of coaching book. And imagine now for training and going into games in September when they come back, you can lean back on this experience you've had with him, can't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. It definitely puts us in a good position moving forward, and it's been a kind of a jump start from what we would have got into without having Ryan there. Yeah, so it's put us in really good stead for September when we do get back on the ice, and it's given the lads that it's all good me coming in and wanting to do stuff, but seeing someone with a proven record like Ryan come in and do stuff, it's a good way to get the lads introduced to it without them questioning it as much as they might have done if it was me doing it.
What's it been like for you then, Graham, as a new owner coming in and working with someone like Ryan with his experience and knowledge of the game and also the business side of it as well?
Well, for Carl and myself, obviously, you know, the enthusiasm's always been there, and I think that's been lacking in years, and just bringing that to the table itself and give us that kickstart has been a breath of fresh air, and then having the opportunity to bring Ryan in and see. The main thing for me was obviously, you know me, I'm eyes and ears everywhere. There's very, very little gets past me. And to see a bunch of the nicest possible way, average players, or, you know, let's call them good players, made even better by having a quality coach. That's the thing that stood out more for me. We could easily put a coach on there with them, go through the motions. I've seen that for years. I've seen it for years and years and years. But to put a coach on there with Ryan's caliber, with 26 people, nobody giving any excuses, everybody wants to play every week. Seeing them stood there like meerkats, looking, wanting to learn. That's the most refreshing thing for me out of everything that's happened. That a quality coach has come in and he's turned. Let's be honest, some Hawks players, 9, 10 of them from a team that came near bottom of the league last year with 7, 8, 9 Division 2 players mixed in with some young Storm kids. The transition from a bunch of average Joes, if you like, in the nicest possible way to... I saw the game against Sheffield, and at times I'm thinking I'm watching the Ireland Globetrotters. So that's been the best thing for me, seeing Ryan come in and get everybody on the same hymn sheet.
From a business point of view, Graham, you know, I know you kind of away from hockey as well, so I know kind of how keen you were for this and how pleased you are that it's come about. But how's the first few months gone from an ownership point of view with you and Carl working together?
A lot better than we envisaged. We knew the goodwill was always there. We knew the people of Blackburn wanted a certain product. We knew they were always out there. I think we were conscious of the ship had sailed a little bit, and to be honest, there were times where all the years I've been going to Blackburn, and that's a long, long time, I'd stopped going myself. I'd started walking out to games. You know what I mean? And to be able to come back in and given the keys to the kingdom and get messages overnight that I've left, I'm coming back, I'm coming back. And we all keep saying it, that the opportunity to get the band back together has been so humbling, really.
With things looking a bit more positive and it's looking like there's going to be a regular season taking place this year, is there any players that you can confirm are going to stay, or is that too early to say?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's too early to say. We always said from the get-go that once we get this little mini-series out of the way, we'll sit down as a management collective and we will plan a way forward. And basically that's where we're at. It's only a couple of days since the mini-series finished. So Carl being organised as he is and me being enthusiastic and organised as I am, along with Eddie Charnock, that's the first port of call. We'll sit down as a threesome and we'll plan a way forward. So I'd like to think the majority of the players that played for us last year with what we're doing will want to return. I think the platform we've laid and the professionalism of the club will naturally entice people back. So, yeah, we're pretty confident.
Just going back to Ryan for a second, with the Hawks being an NIHL morally conference team and your coaching and playing experience in the UK being at elite level, did you have to adapt how you approach the coaching?
I think it was a learning process for me too. Obviously, I think at first maybe he had maybe too much like involved in practices and stuff. I think I learned what drills would, like the players would benefit and which drills maybe they wouldn't. And, but I think as we moved along, I got more into like what I normally do in Manchester, and using the same tactics and kind of systems and philosophies that we try to instill with our guys. He said, we had a very, very short window together, and when you're only on the ice once a week, it makes it even shorter compared to like what we do here. We're on the ice every single day. 2 hours a day, and we're together quite a bit. So it was a condensed. Our time frame was very, very condensed, which made it. I saw some stuff that guys were trying out there that I never thought in a million years. I know we touched on it, and I never thought I'd actually see it in a game. So it was really rewarding. Like I said, you can sit here and praise at me all day long. It's the players at the end of the day that made the difference on the ice. They're the ones that listened and took in what we were trying to implement, whether it was through video sessions or a short time in practice, and did it. So, that they deserve all the credit, and then hopefully they enjoyed it, and they want to come back and replicate it and show that they can compete at in whatever league they get thrown in, and they can compete at the top. And like I said, I'm never going to be too far away, and that was kind of the notion when I walked out, is that I'll definitely be coming back and stopping in, and I'd like to think that I'll still be able to get out to a couple of practices in Blackburn and stay close to the guys.
I think you covered some of this there, but we asked fans to send in some questions for you, Ryan, and this one was sent in by Mark Whitehead. But I suppose we could have your input on this as well, Graham. Once normality resumes, Ryan will understandably be busy with his day job at the Manchester Storm. So how does he see the tie-up between Storm and Hawks progressing going forward?
Yeah, I think the discussion right now, and again, it's we're still in talks about how that completely looks, but I think we are definitely interested in having an affiliation and having our roots kind of getting into Blackburn. It does make sense for us. We want to see that organization grow and grow and grow, and the sky's really the limit with the setup they have there, and I'm confident with the ownership that they can take it from into whatever level they choose to, and then hopefully they get the local support once we're allowed to have fans back in. So I think as of right now, we're happy with what we have, and we'll look to grow it, and again look to not only the player side but potentially the coaching side as well, which was something that we talked about, where they they can stay close to what we're doing in Manchester, and we skate in the daytime, so there's time to kind of check in with us and check back out for when Blackbird trade. So I think you're going to see a lot of cross affiliation and working together in the future to develop the kids. I think that's a big thing we talked about in Blackburn. We want to get some youth, and we want to get some young guys in there and get to them early, so we can kind of get them on what we think is the right path, and definitely grow the sport of hockey. And if it comes through Blackburn and into Manchester, then great.
What's your view on the affiliation with Storm, Graham, from a Hawks perspective?
Well, for us, obviously there's never been a pathway. There's never been a pathway for juniors to develop, and even for quality juniors at Storm, the jump to the elite league is massive. So for them to have a pathway, that works two ways. If we can offer that opportunity at the level that we're at, and then the opportunities to hopefully ice with Ryan, that's a two-way street that suits everybody. I think it's common knowledge that there's a lot of work needs to be done within the Blackburn junior setup, but at the same time, there are clubs on the periphery that are developing juniors really well. Obviously, Nick, as Ryan has alluded to, at the Storm Academy, I know they're smashing it out the park down there. Widnes have a decent junior setup, and they're good friends up at Bradford. So it's just finding that little niche area that we fit in at. So if we can offer ice time to quality up and coming juniors and develop, and then send them in Ryan's direction, that's a win-win for everybody, surely.
Do you have any input on that, Lee, both from a player and a coach standpoint?
Yeah, I think to add to what Graham said there is the pathway. I think that's something that the Northwest and our local teams over the last 10, 15 years has lacked. Is not we've not had it the same as the likes of Sheffield and Nottingham and stuff like that, where there's been a clean pathway from coming out of juniors as a talented player and taking them steps up into senior hockey at NIHL, ENL as it was, and up to EPL and elite. So that's definitely a massive thing to now be able to offer as well, is because you've seen talented players in the past either not be given a chance or move elsewhere and end up popping up a few years later in a club somewhere else, which is obviously something we don't want to we don't want to be happening when we've got teams here. So yeah, having that pathway in the northwest and around our area gives talented young players around the chance to progress and to represent the clubs locally.
Something I always liked about Sheffield in particular was they always had a team at every level in adult hockey, so to speak. From it used to be the Scimitars in Division 2, then it was the Spartans in the Morley Conference, then the Steel Dogs and the Steelers. And I always thought that was a very good progression route as well. I think that's something that if we can add to that with Blackburn going up to Manchester Storm, I just think it benefits everybody.
Yeah, definitely. That's what you need when you've got, because the worst thing you want as a young player who's progressing is to hit a full stop, nowhere else to go. Because I started playing hockey really late, and one of the reasons I managed to progress is that I stepped up quite quickly and into new teams. And every time you step up, you start at the bottom of the pack, and if you've got something about you end up outgrowing it and moving up again. And that's something that kids need to have, that challenge to make sure that they do keep progressing and to get to the highest level.
And Lee, just one more question for yourself, if you don't mind. With the cup that's just finished over the weekend, going into that game, with it being kind of almost like a cup decider for ourselves, and we didn't come quite on the winning side of it, was there also an element of disappointment from that? Because obviously I know it's been difficult getting the legs going and getting involved in this cup, but obviously I imagine as the games progressed, it got more and more competitive in the dressing room.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a lot of disappointment after the game. I think after the first period, I thought we were dominant in the first, and then if you get to that point in the first where you've pretty much dominated the zone time and possession of the puck, and you've not got anything out of it, it can set you off on a bit of a downhill slope, and I think that's what caught us out a little bit. I mean, their goalie stood on his head pretty much all night, and we did struggle. I think with the rinks that we've played in, and the other three rinks that are all full-size Olympic rinks to go into Widnes, it was I think that caught us out a little bit there. But yeah, we were definitely disappointed with the result. I think we went into the first game against Widnes with a bit too much confidence, and then obviously based on past results, and then we maybe went into this game with a bit too much confidence after how we'd built. And but yeah, we was definitely disappointed, but we're still in a positive mindset going into September with how everything's come about the last few months.
What's it been like to play alongside Jacob and Finley? I mean, looking at the stats from the Hawks in the competition, Finley was the top goal scorer and Jacob was top on assists. So what was it like to play with them, obviously with their elite level experience as well? Yeah,
it's great, obviously, to get them lads in amongst the players to show what they can do and share that experience. And I was really impressed with both guys, how because you can often get young lads who come down and they'll come down with a bit of swagger and attitude, but they both came down and they were always helping out the lads with the systems. Obviously they were familiar with them before, obviously from working with Ryan at the Storm, and I was really impressed with how they helped the lads, and they bought straight into what we were trying to do. And I was, and obviously how they played, they both played great, and it was massive having them to set us off on that direction.
I think Declan was a great addition in defence. It definitely bolstered us on the blue line. Were you happy with their performance, Ryan, from a Storm perspective?
Yeah, I think it was probably harder on Jake and Finn's than any of the other guys. I think for guys that haven't played for over a year, it was good for them to get moving again. And I thought they played with a lot of confidence and played well. And I think like Polly said, I know it was important when we talked that they were helping out the guys and the young guys, and especially when it came down to systems, that that they were an extra voice for myself, and if they saw something, they were helping and coaching as well. I think when it comes to coaching, it's kind of a team event, and you need everybody, everybody helping each other and making sure we're accountable. And and I think it starts really, for me, it's big in practice that you make sure guys do things the right way, and if they aren't doing it, make sure they understand what it is we're doing, what the purpose is, and then show them the right way, and then I think they did that. I think they led by example a lot. Being familiar with what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to get out of every drill or every face-off play, and I think they were good, man. Like I said, I think the group also accepted them, which is huge too. We're coming into their territory and their zone, and it doesn't always go as well as you think it might. And that was what I was so impressed with. I said it 100 times already, but just how open they were to having us, and we're sure thankful that we're able to kind of do our thing there.
Whilst we're talking about the Storm lads, we spoke about the link up earlier, but just regarding Jacob and Finlay, are they going to be at Blackburn on a two-way going into next season?
Yeah, I think these are all kind of discussions. We're looking. Obviously, we got some player movement and some stuff we're looking to do. So it's kind of a back burner situation right now. But like I said, we do want to have some affiliation, and like we are looking for youth in Manchester. So there could be hopefully some names that we can send there and that can play in Blackburn and also kind of train with us. And the proximity of location, hopefully they can get on the ice twice as much as they normally would. So that's kind of the idea. But again, that's probably talks for after our series here and as we head into the summer, getting ready for next season.
Just another fan question we received in between these first two episodes, Ryan. I appreciate this is a difficult one to answer, but we will put you on the spot a little bit. Long-time Hawks fan Ed Lavis asks, kind of what do you believe needs to happen to ensure that British ice hockey is more sustainable and closes the gap competitiveness-wise with its European counterparts?
Well, I think it starts at the grassroots. I think by the time you start trying to ask for change at the top, you've missed a few steps. So I definitely think it starts in stage one, and making sure that these getting these kids on the ice as much as possible, making sure that there is quality coaching, that there's a purpose for what these kids are doing at every level. There's enough education out there, and enough countries to lean on to look at what they're doing, to implement what they're doing. I think any coach that doesn't want to learn and wants to continue doing it his way is a dinosaur. And I think in today's world we have the access to learn and to understand and to see what other countries are doing, and we got to start implementing that in our own country and doing it from day one. So I think for me it starts in the grassroots, and then I think personally I think the elite league we need to. I know sort of something we're doing in Manchester. We got to look to the youth, and we got to start bringing them in and getting them in early and getting them good quality ice time. And I know that's our MO in Manchester, and I think you'll see that over the next few years with the guys that we're going to develop and what we're trying to do with our youngsters. And if we know that Blackburn's doing the same thing, well, it's just a bonus for us. But 100%, I think need to look at need to look at what we're doing with the kids and how they're structured, and who's getting to spend that time with them on the ice and how they're using that ice time effectively, and making sure there's accountability for everyone. I think again, it has nothing to do with me, but I think our academy has done an incredible job. Nick Crawley and the guys there, and the guys that are on the ice are well drilled, and every second those kids are on the ice, there's a purpose and a plan, and not a lot of wastage. And that, again, that's for our academy and everybody that's behind the academy, not the Manchester Storm. But and I think they should be a great role model for what they're doing. And I think that's where it starts, is less politics and more accountability, and maybe care a little bit more about the kids than fighting in a boardroom.
You mentioned there obviously that the best thing to do is start with the grassroots and work your way back up. As well as that obviously being a key priority, do you think it would benefit if British ice hockey was under one governing body, from the elite league down to where Blackburn are and even lower?
For me to really answer, I'd have to really kind of get I'd have to probably sit and look at what's going on. I'm probably a little too far removed to have to give you an educated answer. I wouldn't want to speculate on what's going on, only because I haven't really, to be fair. I just don't know how it's all working. The intricacies of it all. So I would probably just say I don't know. Ask me again in a few years. I'm sure I'll know.
So, Graham, we asked Carl the same kind of question when he was on, but it was nice to get your perspective as well. Is there any sort of kind of goal or target or aim you've got in mind moving forward now with the ownership of Blackburn Hawks?
Stability. I think stability is the main thing. I've never ever set us any goals, or I don't really have any wish to play EPL hockey. If I'm being honest, I don't ever see an elite team playing out of Blackburn. Blackburn is what it is. It's a fantastic, busy little town that has a great fan base, and like commercially for us, it's a case of tapping into that fan base once more. I'm a firm believer that Mrs. Smith, who lives right corner from me, will come and watch the Hawks week in, week out, no matter what sign is above that door, whether it's elite, National League, EPL, ENL, whatever. She just wants to come down and watch a competitive Blackburn Hawks, get the kids home on a Sunday night, have the supper, get them off to bed and up for school on a Monday morning. I think it's as simple as that. And I think we've lost that. I think that's got lost over the years. I think it's become stale, it's become stagnant. And I think the best thing that could happen, and it's easy for me to say this is because I'm an owner, is that it's got new ownership. And it's got new ownership with people who are as organised, as professional, and as enthusiastic as you could wish to meet. And I mean, there's the nicest possible way. If we didn't do anything, it would still be better than what it was. So for us, the world really is our oyster in terms of what we can achieve. So that's mine and Carl's target, is just to make it the best it can be.
Any final comments from you, Graham, before we wrap things up?
No, I'm happy to wrap it. So just, and I've said it 1,000 times. It just leaves me. I can't thank Ryan enough. I really can't. You know, I didn't know Ryan until I've met him. I'm not going to lie. I got this impression of this grumpy, miserable swine when I've seen of him on Elite League. But I can assure you, it was nothing of the sort. From the first day I met him on the golf course, I'd like to think we became friends straight away. What a lovely, humble bloke to work with. And you know, I've thanked him enough this week as it is, but I'd like to take this opportunity to thank him once again from myself and Carl. It's been great.
If I hear a thank you again, I'm actually going to turn into a grumpy, horrible, miserable bloke. No, like I said, it was my honor. Honestly, I didn't expect to enjoy my time as much as I did. It was fun to get back on the ice with them, and obviously I've known Carl now for some time, and I think Graham's taken enough money off me in the golf course, so it's been a good experience. No, I really enjoyed it, and I kind of want to say thank you to them for allowing us, because I think it was a lot of fun and a lot more than I expected, and it sure was a lot more professional and organized than I was expecting. So good experience all around, and hopefully just a starting block for the future.
Thanks to Ryan, Lee and Graham for taking the time to come on this episode of Hawks Talk. It's been a pleasure having you on, and we'll hopefully have you all on the show at different points in the future.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Okay. See you guys.
Yeah. Cheers, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. All right. Cheers, boys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Hawks Talk.
So there we go, guys. That brings us to the end of episode 2 at Hawks Talk with our guests Ryan Finnerty, Graham Lomax and Lee Pollitt. Overall, I thought that was a fantastic episode and insight. It was great to hear kind of Ryan's opinions on how he got involved with Blackburn Hawks in this cup competition, and kind of the relationship going forward between Blackburn Hawks and Manchester Storm, which was echoed by new co-owner Graham Lomax. And of course, it was great to hear Lee Pollitt's kind of opinion on the tournament from a player perspective and his coaching role as well. And we look forward to, hearing off these guys in the future. And I think overall, Graham, it was just nice to hear that this is inside opinion of how the organisation of the club is going at the minute.
Yeah, I agree. It's good to hear things from all levels involved in it. So you got the player coach perspective with Lee, the head coach perspective with Ryan while he managed us throughout that series, and then obviously the ownership by Graham as well. So I think it was very informative throughout it all.
Yeah, I know it's very cheesy, but it is kind of a case of the future's bright and the sky's the limit, isn't it, going forward? All we just need now is hopefully a season to restart in September where fans can get back in the rink and, see where Blackburn Hawks can go. But it's all looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Just before we go, we wanted to say thank you to Mark and Ed for submitting those questions. If you want to see the stats from the NIHL North Cup and the league table, they are available on the EIHA website. All the W's, eiha.co.uk, and we'll put the link in the description for you. So all that's left to say is thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Hawks Talk podcast. We wanted to say thank you to everyone who listened to the first episode. The feedback we got on that was great. Like we said last time, we want to involve you, the fans, as much as possible. So get in touch via email, hawkstalk@blackburnhawks.com, with any suggestions, questions or feedback. And don't forget to subscribe on whichever platform you're listening on.
Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode soon.
Hawks Talk.